Hey YouTubers, Retro Junkie, reporting in and just going over another quick playthrough and thoughts of a game that has captured another sense of a retro game in nature. Very simplistic, but also very complicated. Not complicated in the form of gameplay mechanics, it's pretty basic. There's nothing special, nothing crazy. But complicated in the sense that it's a little difficult to explain, more difficult than normal. So today's game's Rogue Legacy, and for those of you not familiar with the game, this was a game that was free on PSN quite some time ago. But it's one of those games I do like picking up from time to time and playing it for a couple hours, not in one sitting, of course, and just kind of going through and messing around. So this game has a very Castlevania-esque background and scenery. Going through old abandoned castle. Castle has a curse associated to it, and with that comes the story. And the synopsis of the story, for the most part, is you are... and this is where it gets difficult to explain. You're a family tree of heroes that is trying to go in and beat this castle because your ancestor before you has gone in and tried to beat this castle, and they never returned. Mainly because this is a story where you are meant to die, and as you die, the fortune that you amass within the castle is passed on to your next of kin, as well as whatever skills, items, gear that you get or that you acquire. And with that, you use that to purchase upgrades or to continue to progress through the castle with stronger and better gear that you can purchase, or with skills that you upgrade with or that you find, and then you proceed on to go through the castle until your current character dies, like this one's about to, and then you select your next of kin, where you just repeat the process until you complete the game. So once you complete it, there's New Game Plus, New Game Plus Plus, New Game Plus 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 Plus, where the monsters in the castle just continue to get harder and harder. One additional mechanic that they did introduce to this game is one of which that every time you enter the castle, it changes. So it's not like you can memorize where you need to go in the castle to where to find special items or gold or gear or with whatever else. They've been giving me crap lately with these rolls. There we go. I like playing with the paladins or with the barbarian kings. So each another mechanic in this game is each character or next of kin that you play as has traits, and these traits obscure your gameplay or have the potential of obscuring your gameplay. Like Lady Yvette, her trait is baldness, the bald and the beautiful. That has nothing to do with any of the traits that you need to play with, at least none that I can see. However, Sir Mark IV has glaucoma and stereo blind, means that they everything looks dark and you can't see in 3D. And I'm gonna play as this one just so you guys can see how it differs from the last character that I played as. So this will make gameplay with this character much more difficult. If I recall properly, can't seeing in 3D means that as you turn around, it actually looks like a 2D caricature. Think of Paper Mario, kind of, when you move and navigate the world as you turn around and do things. So this is your family's castle where you build up and you procure and get upgrades. I like to do strength as much as possible, but I think I did that last time if I recall. So now I'm just trying to see what else here I could do. And the upgrades get expensive. The more you do them, the more expensive they get. See, I didn't even do I can't even do the attack up upgrade that I like normally doing. So in this case, I'm going to go with health, because health is always beneficial, or equip up. So this allows you to carry more weight, and you need that for the more upgraded items. So as you can see, everything close to me is how it's supposed to normally appear in the world. And as I turn around, you can see it's a kind of a 2D character. This doesn't really affect the gameplay much. However, the glaucoma can. This specific character has a mild case of glaucoma, not an extreme one. There are more extreme ones where the color or it is darker around you. So overall, this is a good call. Since the 3D does affect gameplay, but doesn't make it more difficult for you. But anyway, as you can see, if you remember from the last run I did with the last of kin or ancestor, or however you want to call it, the castle changed. There are certain things in the castle that never change. There are 4 parts of the castle. There's the normal part, which is always to the west. There is the tower, which is always to the north. There's a dungeon, which is always to the south. And there's the forest, which is always to the east. But how you get there and the flow of the map to those destinations changes. And that's what makes it a little bit more, I'd say, difficult in some aspects. If you're trying to count on memorizing how to get through, or if you're drawing a map and don't do it, you're going to be drawing that map 120 times because every time it changes. There are special items that you can get in the game, actually, and they only apply once, and that is, they're called ovals. There's Charn's Oval, which lets you save money and move it on to your next character without needing to pay Charn's fee, which, as you saw at the beginning, I lost all my gold. There's also ovals, and I don't remember the names for them, that that will allow the map to go unchanged. There's also actually an old man at the beginning where you can spend part of your gold, and he will, in fact, he will take whatever gold you have left, and he will leave the map unchanged. But there's a trophy that you can get for not doing that ever through an entire playthrough. And when I say playthrough, I mean from your first of kin all the way up until your last of kin that you complete the castle with. I have not gotten that trophy yet, because I have not completed this game yet without using that. Either because of stupidity, because I forget what I'm doing, or because of whatever. But this time I have not used it, so I'm on track for the trophy. I just need to get to the last boss and beat it. There's also a trophy in this game for the PlayStation to where if you beat the game with less than 10 members of your family tree that have died, that's a trophy, but that is extremely difficult. At least I've been trying, and I have not gotten to that point yet. However, this is one of those games where, I'm sure you've heard me mention this several times, kind of like Ikaruga, where the more you play, the better you get at it. The more you understand the mechanics, the more you understand the timings and the monsters and what they do and their movements and their flows and how they attack, and you just kind of get better at it with time. Right now I have so much health and just don't care, I'm just moving along. And I have special runes equipped to my gear, which runes you can find as you play through the castle, to where if you attack things, they give you additional health. You take less damage, you can do double jumps or triple jumps or what have you. I hate this fire thing. I hate this guy too. Leaving this room, taking quite a bit of damage. Control you. That's a special skill that the Barbarian King has. It's reference to another game, I forget what it was. The Gorado knocked everything and everyone back. I will probably die in this section. And come to think of it, I'm going through this part, and I don't think I'm ready for this yet. So this is the most difficult part of the castle. So anyway, this is a newer game. It is not a remake of an old game. So it is not necessarily a retro game or an 8-bit game or anything like that by true nature, but it is, oh, good help. But it is a game that took an old style fashion game or made their new game into an old fashioned, an old style one with the 8 bits. Although technically this would qualify as 16-bit colors and movements and everything in nature. Definitely some mechanics that are involved in this game that were not capable on old consoles and processors. So another good example of taking advantage of today's hardware to make a classic game that was something we would have played back then, but didn't have the hardware capabilities to do so. One of the things I do enjoy about this game as well is the eerie soundtrack that goes along with it, which I'll just go ahead and stay quiet for a bit so you guys can actually hear. It is the same track on loop. However, keep in mind that the track does change per area of the map, similar to how Castlevania was. So the bosses in this game, each area has a boss, and the bosses can be difficult. They require a lot of running around or coordination or better gear in most cases. But once you play them once or twice, you get to understand their mechanics and you make it pretty easy to kind of go through. There's lore in this game too, journal entries from your previous ancestor or from your predecessor, and kind of just goes through different things that they're experiencing, gives you an idea in some cases of what to expect within the castle, and in other cases it just explains strange phenomena or things that you may have experienced yourself. Hard. I want to say that whoever developed this game definitely pulled some references from Castlevania Symphony of the Night, or used it as a means to a certain degree. Because this area of the map definitely has a clock tower feeling to it from Castlevania, and the soundtrack for this area definitely gives a sense or a feeling of that as well. Just because in Symphony of the Night I do remember that the clock tower did have like a rock and roll theme to it, and definitely added some flair to the soundtrack, into the atmosphere. there it goes. And for the most part, that's it. You wash, you rinse, you repeat. You can have different profiles in this game. Like here's another profile. This was my original gameplay. I spent 31 hours in it, where it's New Game Plus 4. My character's level 445. Monsters are ridiculously more hard, ridiculously more, upgrades are ridiculously more expensive, but look at me, I'm shiny. And I'm a lot faster and I have pretty decent gear. But as you'll come up with the first monster that you see, they're different for the beginning parts of the castle. So typically you don't run into portraits that move this quickly or shoot those many projectiles as they're moving around on the map. So that should be an indication of just how difficult this part is. You also don't into these guys, they don't shoot as much ice out at you at the beginning, but you know, this is New Game Plus, and it is a lot more difficult. Which I kind of shot myself in the foot with because I thought, hey, you get more gold with New Game Plus, which you do. I just started and I've already got 9,000 gold. But you die a lot faster, it's a lot easier, and I defied death twice. That is insane. So one of the upgrades that you can get in your castle is you could purchase a skill called Defy Death, and the more you purchase and upgrade it, the higher the chance that you will come back to life in the event that you die. And I've never had it where it's happened back to back that way. But there it is. So now that I go through that, you can kind of go through and pick out a new heir. You've got 2 left hands, so you can't cast spells properly. I hate that trait. But the cool part is that you have no foot pulse. No foot pulse means that when you walk on spikes or the traps that trigger spikes, it doesn't actually trigger spikes. So that's beneficial, but you also have 2 left hands, so if you try to cast spells, sometimes you don't cast it properly, sometimes you cast the wrong spell, so it makes it very random. But this is Barbarian King. So you can see most of my things here are maxed out. In fact, all of them are, except for how much armor I could carry, how much weight, and my mana. As you can see now also, these upgrades get expensive. To upgrade it by 1 stat, it is 6,000 gold. Same thing goes for the magic up. I'm gonna do weight. And most of the weapons, most of the armor. Still need to find the legs. Haven't done that yet. See. Oh, that's right, that was my special. So as you cast spells, they cast backwards. They don't cast in the right direction. So if you want to shoot forward, you actually have to turn around and aim the other way. Got lucky in that sense, because other times I've seen it where it just does completely random spells instead of the correct ones. Jerk. So for the most part, I mean, that's Rogue Legacy in a nutshell. There's more to it, but those are things that'll come up as you play the game more. You can see I could walk on the spike traps, and no foot pulse allows me to do so freely without having myself spiked to death. But anyway, that's all there is to Rogue Legacy mainly. There's a little bit more to it, but those are more in the actual gameplay. Those involve some spoilers, which I don't like to do, at least as little as I can. And if you have this in your PlayStation Plus account, it's one of those things where you purchased it, but you never sat down and played it or downloaded it because it just looks weird, try it. You'll be pleasantly surprised. I was, for sure. Because that's something that I did. I downloaded it, or I got it because it was free and I like to have it in my library. My nieces and nephews like to come over, so sometimes I do have games there that they just download and they play and I'm not even aware of. And like I said, this one pleasantly surprised me. So give it a shot. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, flame battles, whatever you want to say or whatever, internet's a free place, it's YouTube, comment away. I'd appreciate any feedback, whether it's positive or negative, something I could do different, something I could do to improve, or even a playthrough or a video of a game, whether it's old or new. If it's something that you'd like to see, want my opinions on, because for some reason it matters, because there's so many out there, let me know. And thanks for watching.